Subramani, have you ever wondered whether you should invest in an index fund or an actively managed fund? If you have not, I would be very surprised. Because most people would have gone through this trauma of saying, should I invest here, should I invest there? Should I put money in large cap, mid cap, small cap, international funds, hybrid funds? Should I do that? Or should I just put money in one index fund? Now it's a very difficult question to answer because only one index fund, if you want to put, it has to be a world index fund, right? It can't be an India index fund, because if you believe in the index, it just means you're admitting that you don't have any great advantage of skill or of picking stocks or picking countries, right? You say, I don't know whether Brazil will do well next year or US will do well or Japan will do well. So I go by one index fund, which is a world tracker index fund. Perhaps it's 70% world tracker index fund and 30% world tracker debt fund. That would be perhaps the best, the most ideal, if I could use that, coin that word. And provided it has got low cost. If you have this combination, it would be the best. But will it be the only fund in which you ever invest? That is the question to answer, because the minute you put into this fund and you say, okay, I'll put 10% of my money into that fund, you've lost it. Then then you are again an active investor. You're no longer a passive investor. But what happens is, it seems to be rational to put money in an index fund, and that too in a world index fund. But I doubt whether any Indian investor who is a mutual fund investor and not a stock picker would go and just put money in one index fund, which is perhaps a little hybrid, saying 70-30, 70 in equity and 30 in debt. I don't think anybody does this, because we all we pick up one fund from an old fund house which was in existence 25 years ago or 30 years ago, and we go and put some money into it, or and then slowly we keep on adding. We don't necessarily redeem that one unless you're going to buy a house or something like that. You need the money. So that is also there, and then you added one more. So 3, 4, 5 fund houses, each having 1 or 2 stocks. So suddenly you have a longish 10, 11 stock portfolio, which may perhaps be underperforming the index. But that will not stop you from saying, I will still do that, because I remember March 2020 and April 2020. For people not very comfortable, I asked them to invest in index funds, and those index funds have done extremely well, right? Now, it was just luck. I had no clue that the market will double in 1 year or almost double in 1 year, right? So none of us knew that, but it happened. So should you invest in that, or should you put money in alternative index fund, which means an index fund which says I will give equal weight, or a fund which says I'm a smart beta, I will put in all those but I will not put in PSU, or I will put in all that but I will not put in banking. So that is like an active fund for all practical purposes. So if that cost is high, the question is, do you want to pay a higher cost for doing that, or are you saying, oh, I think this is a sensible thing? Both ways are right, but one important thing you need to know is one word, which is or a group of words. The most dangerous group of 4 words is not what you think I'm going to say. What I'm going to say is, my back end research has done a lot of work, and we know one thing. Now are the important words. My back testing shows that, right? Back testing is very difficult because you have to remove the bias. What happens is, there is consensus building. There's a group sitting and saying, let us do some back testing, and then they remove all the PSU shares because the PSU has not performed well for say 10 years, and then they create a portfolio and say, wow, this works. Now this is your mental bias saying next 10 years will be same as the previous 10 years. It may not be. Next 10 years could be the 10 years of PSU, right? Right now PSUs are doing well. It has done well in the last say 15-18 months. Next 36 months they could be a disaster, right? We do not know. Therefore you have to get into an index fund, and you are admitting that you do not know. I have no clue how to pick a country. Forget picking a company. I don't know how to pick a country. So I do not know whether Brazil will do well or Japan will do well or US will do well. So therefore I'm going into a world index fund. In the world index fund, maybe there is too much weightage being given to US and too little weightage being given to China, which is perhaps growing faster, or to Japan, or to Korea, or even to India, right? So we may not be happy with the weightage, but somebody has thought that this is the right weightage. Can you just go and say what a world index tracker does is it tells you the global markets are doing the hard work of figuring which country how much weightage to be given to earn the best return. Somebody else is doing that work for you, and because that is reflected in the various regional weightings of the World Tracker Fund. Having done that, why do you want to go and second guess and say, I don't think Brazil will do well, so I will put more money in Korea? Then you're not in the World Tracker Fund. Stick to a World Tracker Fund. If you are an index fund lover, I think you should stick to a World Tracker Fund, maybe 70% money in that and 30% in debt instruments. I doubt whether we will ever do that. I will not do it for sure. I am in 2-3 global tracking funds, and they have different weights. I know one fund manager who is picking up that, and I trust him. So I have money there. I have in 3 global tracking funds and 2 emerging market funds. I have put that money there last 4 or 5 years. I do not know whether to come out because I'm just letting it lie there. I put money in a healthcare fund which invests abroad. So I've done those kind of things, but that's not a big amount of my money. It's a small amount of my money, and this is more for learning to see what is working, because some of the shares which they have picked up I will never pick up, and some of the shares which they have picked up I will never be able to pick up. So this kind of a combination, right? So that works for me, and right. So many people now use words like smart beta, fundamental indexing, which means equal weighted indexing, or saying we will do against the PE investing, right? So what we have, one more thing which the mutual fund industry or the BFSI industry beautifully does is take a simple product which can be very low cost and make some 27 variants of that and confuse you, but these could be with higher charges. So one thing, whenever people use the word smart beta, fundamental indexing, or alternative weighted indexing, right, all means of creating an alpha over the index, just go and check whether the costs justify what they are saying. If you think the costs justify, please treat them as active funds, right? And there's a good chance that over 10 years, one of these smart beta guys may outperform the index, but there's a good chance that he may not outperform the index, right? Can we get away with the home bias? I don't think we can. None of us will go and put all their money in a world index fund. So you have to check whether you will put money in a world index fund, and whether I will. I don't think I will put more than 10% of my money in all these foreign funds, or funds investing in foreign countries. And I know fund managers who are happy to put 100% of their incremental money into this, right? So I know people who will put money in a World Tracker Fund and keep picking stocks. I know people who would keep putting money in actively managed funds and pick stocks. All kind of combinations, whatever works for you. Very important to note that many people who are punching much below their weight, somebody with an annual income of say 2 crores and spending about 5 lakhs a year, yes, you can find such people. This guy can make whatever mistake, this family can make whatever mistake and still not worry. They will underperform their index, their portfolio might underperform the index, does not matter, right? They are here to meet their goals. So if you can meet your goals with whatever strategies you use, I think you should be happy with that. There is no great rationale in looking at all those things if you are not full-time into this. If you're full-time into this, you might have fun doing this, but if you are a doctor and have a nice practice, there is no need to break your head over all this. So put money in 2-3 index funds, or continue with whatever funds you have if you're happy with the return that you're getting. Don't break your head watching such videos confusing you more. Just stay put, right? So there are times when I get into a conversation with people, with families, with husband and wife, and I tell them the same thing. There is nothing required to be changed in your portfolio. If you've taken an index fund, if you put money in a term, if you've taken a term insurance, if you've taken medical insurance, and any other risk cover tactics that you should use, and you're doing an SIP, which is an increasing SIP, I don't think you should break your head. The most important thing perhaps is to learn to say the word no and say, I have done my investments, I do not need new products. That's the worst thing that you can do to your investing life. Thank you.